Renegade Spitfire Paddy is a war film that sets out to tell the remarkable story of Paddy Finucane, better known as Paddy, an Irishman who became one of the most celebrated fighter pilots in the Royal Air Force during the Second World War. What makes the film instantly compelling is not just the fact that it covers dramatic aerial battles and high-stakes dogfights in the skies over Europe, but that at its heart it is a portrait of youth, courage, leadership, and the cost of war. At just 21 years of age, Paddy became the youngest ever wing commander in the RAF, and that detail alone is enough to draw audiences in. It sounds almost too incredible to be true, but it really happened, and the film works hard to bring that truth to life for modern viewers. The movie begins with scenes of Paddy as a boy in Ireland, dreaming of flying and fascinated by airplanes. These early moments are important because they ground the larger-than-life story in something human and relatable. Everyone has childhood dreams, and for Paddy those dreams led him into a world of danger and responsibility far beyond his years. The filmmakers choose to keep these opening sequences simple and emotionally direct, showing his family's support but also their worries. They know that war is coming, and their son's desire to fly means he will be at the very center of it. The mix of pride and fear sets the emotional tone that carries through the film. Once Paddy joins the RAF, the movie takes us into his training. This part of the story could have been brushed aside quickly, but it actually matters. Paddy is shown not as a flawless prodigy, but as someone who makes mistakes and learns the hard way. There are moments of clumsiness, accidents, and doubts. We see him crash during training exercises and feel his frustration. This choice makes his later achievements more impressive because we have seen the struggle that comes before the glory. It also gives the audience a way to connect with him. He is not a distant legend, he is a young man finding his way. The shift from training to active service raises the stakes. As the Battle of Britain intensifies, the film plunges us into the air war. Here the cinematography and sound design really carry the weight. Engines roar, bullets tear through the sky, and the camera often locks close on Paddy's face, showing both concentration and fear. The special effects may not always have the blockbuster polish of a Hollywood production, but they are effective enough to give us a sense of speed, chaos, and danger. Importantly, the film does not glamorize these battles too heavily. There are moments of triumph, yes, but also loss, terror, and exhaustion. The war in the air is thrilling but also horrifying, and the film makes sure we feel both sides. One of the strongest parts of the story is the way it shows Paddy's rise through the ranks. He is not only a skilled pilot but also someone others naturally begin to look up to. When he is given command of 452 Australian Squadron, the movie shifts into a different kind of drama. Now Paddy has to prove himself not just as a fighter, but as a leader. The squadron is full of tough personalities, men from different backgrounds who are not instantly inclined to follow a young Irishman. Some of the early interactions are tense, with doubts cast on his authority. Yet gradually, through courage, fairness, and his ability to inspire confidence, Paddy wins them over. These sections give the movie some of its most satisfying character moments. Watching trust grow within the group and seeing Paddy evolve into a commander makes the film about more than just battles in the sky. It becomes a story of leadership and the burdens that come with it. The performance of Shane Oregon as Paddy anchors the entire production. He brings an energy and vulnerability that makes the character believable. He captures the mixture of youthful charm and deep responsibility, showing us a man who is both confident in flight and quietly weighed down by the deaths around him. His eyes often do the work that dialogue cannot, conveying fear, grief, or determination with a look rather than words. Supporting actors help flesh out the world, with the squadron members each given just enough personality to stand out. Their camaraderie and banter lighten the mood at times, while their losses hit hard when the war takes its toll. What stands out about Renegade Spitfire Paddy is the way it balances action with emotion. Too many war films lean heavily on spectacle while forgetting to show the human side. This film avoids that mistake. The dogfights are thrilling, but they are always tied to the people inside the planes. When a character is shot down, it hurts because we have spent time with them. When Paddy survives a close encounter, we feel his relief because we have been placed inside his headspace. This balance is what gives the film heart. It is not just a military chronicle, it is a personal story. The themes running through the film are easy to grasp but powerful. Courage under fire is the most obvious one, as Paddy constantly flies into situations where the odds are stacked against him. But there is also the theme of youth and responsibility. He is only in his early 20s, yet he is carrying the lives of others on his shoulders. The movie never lets us forget how young he is, which makes his achievements even more astonishing and the risks even more frightening. Another theme is identity. As an Irishman in the RAF, Paddy's story touches on questions of nationality and loyalty, especially since Ireland remained neutral during the war. The shamrock painted on his Spitfire becomes more than just decoration, it is a statement of pride in who he is. The film does not hammer this point too hard, but it is present throughout and adds another layer to his character. Not everything works perfectly. The pacing at times feels uneven. The training sequences, while important, do linger longer than needed, and some stretches of dialogue drag when the film might have moved on more quickly. The emotional depth, while solid, sometimes feels a little surface level. There are moments where the script tells us how a character feels rather than letting us experience it more subtly. The soundtrack, though stirring, can occasionally feel heavy-handed, pushing the audience to feel emotions that the performances alone might have delivered better with restraint. These flaws do not break the film, but they do prevent it from reaching the level of a classic war epic. The visuals deserve credit for ambition even if they sometimes reveal the limitations of budget. The flying sequences are convincing enough to create immersion, and the use of close-ups inside the cockpit helps hide some of the rougher effects work. The film smartly leans on character drama to carry weight rather than relying purely on spectacle. Compared to massive war films with enormous budgets, it may look modest, but the sincerity of the storytelling makes up for that. This is a movie made with respect for its subject rather than a desire to overwhelm with scale. By the time the film reaches its conclusion, there is a strong sense of both achievement and tragedy. Paddy's story is inspiring, but it is also a reminder of how short and fragile life was for those who fought in the skies of World War II. The movie does not shy away from the dangers he faced and the losses endured by those around him. It avoids cheap sentimentality by staying grounded in reality. We are left admiring Paddy's bravery while also mourning the heavy costs of war. This emotional mix is what lingers after the credits roll. As a film magazine review, it is important to consider how Renegade's Spitfire Paddy stands within the larger landscape of war movies. Compared to giants of the genre like Dunkirk or Battle of Britain, this film is smaller in scope, more intimate, and more personal. It does not try to cover the entire war or huge operations. Instead, it focuses tightly on one man's journey and the group of pilots around him. That makes it less grand but also more accessible. For viewers who want a war story with a human center rather than a pure history lesson, it delivers. It may not have the spectacle of bigger productions, but it compensates with sincerity and character focus. The film is also valuable for shining light on a figure not widely known outside military history circles. Brendan Finucane deserves recognition, and this film ensures that his story reaches a wider audience. In that sense, it functions as both entertainment and tribute. It respects its subject matter and introduces him to people who might otherwise never have heard his name. This makes the film not just a piece of drama but also a piece of cultural memory. For those wondering whether to see it, the answer depends on what you want from a war film. If you are looking for relentless action and cutting-edge visual effects, you may find it lacking. But if you want a story that mixes action with heart, character growth with historical resonance, then Renegade's Spitfire Paddy is well worth watching. It is a film that cares about its hero and wants the audience to care too. Even with its flaws, it succeeds in telling a story that feels both moving and important. When reflecting on the overall experience, it is clear that Renegade's Spitfire Paddy works best as a heartfelt tribute rather than a flawless masterpiece. It reminds us that war films do not always need to be enormous in scale to leave an impact. Sometimes it is enough to focus on one young man, his courage, his leadership, and his identity. By keeping the spotlight on Paddy Finucane, the movie offers both inspiration and reflection. It leaves viewers with admiration for his bravery and sadness for the brevity of his life, a mixture that feels honest to the realities of wartime heroism. In the end, Renegade Spitfire Paddy is a film that blends action and emotion with sincerity. It tells the story of a remarkable young man without over-romanticizing it, balancing the excitement of aerial combat with the sobering truths of war. It is not without flaws, but it carries enough heart, authenticity, and respect for its subject to stand out. For film fans who appreciate war stories told with passion and humanity, this is one worth seeking out.